Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you probably can know right about now, New Japan Pro Wrestling continues with more of the best of the Super Juniors. We are now in day 7. Now, we're nowhere near close to the end, but we're going to witness how far they progress. Who will be in the lead? Who will be tied? Who will be stuck in what spot in the tournament? So we'll pay attention throughout the entire thing. But however, this entire event is focusing only on the A block matches, but we are going to throw in some of the matches that are part of how we say the preview matches that will lead on possibly for the B block matches. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, we ended with some NXT. As you probably can guess, we're now in the final, how should I say, the go home show before Battleground. So anything could go down. As you know, the feud between Joe Hendry and Trick Williams continue as the TNA World title is on the line. We even, of course, are seeing what's going to happen in the rest of the entire NXT brand. So we'll see how things will progress as well. And as always, we will cap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world, pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. So, it's time, of course, to go to the sunset. Let's begin, as always, with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Day 7 of the Best of the Super Juniors. Now, keep in mind, we're only going to focus on the A block matches, but we do have a bit of the preview matches that will lead possibly for B block matches probably at another time. But let's do those right away. Our first match, we have Daiki Nagai teaming up with Nick Wayne, taking on Bullet Club's very own Geto and Taiji Shimori. So obviously you probably will see Ishimori and Nick Wayne will duke it out. But the real question I think many of you may ask, who will get the momentum coming up to their match between both Ishimori and Nick? Well, that's a very good question. I mean, many people would assume that Ishimori will have the upper hand since he has more experience, but Nick Wayne was able to overcome it when he applied a double cutter on both Geto and Ishimori But however, he made a mistake when he thought Ishimori was the legal man. The reality, it was Geto, but Geto was the one who took the fall. And just like that, the momentum goes to Nick Wayne. And of course, Daiki Naba shares the credit with him as well. Now, our next match, we have an 8-man tag team match. We have Katsuya Murashima, Tiger Mask, Ryusuke Taguchi, Yo versus Masatora Yasuda, Shomakato, Mao, and El Desperado. So most likely we can see certain aspects when it comes to who will be facing who. So that kind of sets it up. But the one thing I think many of us should know, here we go again with Taguchi. You can see his bare ass showing. But thank God to the camera angle using the ring ropes to cover that, because I'm sure nobody wants to see that. But his successful ways to do that did not work in his favor, because, surprise, it was Murashima, the young lion, who was able to pick up the win when he defeated another fellow young lion from the opposite side, and he put Yasuda in a Boston Crab, and just like that, he had to tap out. So, the way I see it, Yo and Taguchi gets the momentum in their favor. So we'll see how things will progress in their block. Now, our next match, we have TMDK's Hartley Jackson and Robbie Eagles versus LIJ's Shingo Takagi and Titan. So you probably can guess that the next match in the best Super Juniors will be Titan and Robbie Eagles. So, as like we say before, who will build the momentum? I have to say, we did see a bit of the hoss between both Tsuji and Jackson, but in the end, it was Tsuji who walked out with the victory by applying the Gene Blaster onto Jackson, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But we will see how things will progress between Titan and Robbie Eagles at their upcoming match. And then finally, our last match of this before we go with the A block, we have the House of Losers, Yujiro Takahashi, Sanada, and Sho taking on Toru Yano, Kevin Knight, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So most likely, the next match for the B block involving the preview here, it will be Sho and Kevin Knight. Now, of course, when it comes to the House of Losers, you know these jackasses will definitely try, of course, to cheat their way through. That's what they've been known. If you want to know how that happened, well, here's how it goes. Sanada, once again with the guitar, he used that by slapping it and tossing it into Toru Yano, and then the referee said he was, of course, called it, saying you hit him with the guitar. And once again, House of Torture with their usual ways, these losers continue to cheat. So, just like that. And of course, I know that scumbag Sho is probably smiling his butt off, thinking he gets momentum. I just hope Kevin Knight gives him an ass beating of a lifetime when they meet. So we'll see how that rolls up. Now let's jump into what we were expecting, the A block matches involving the best of the Super Juniors. Our first match, we have Ninja Mac versus Hiromu Takahashi. Now, I'm probably sure many of you know I always bet on Ninja Mac. But one thing I did not anticipate, you guys saw what he did. He did that little cartwheel flippy thingy out into the ring, outside the ring, chasing both Wato and Robbie X. Well, it did not work this time because for some reason, somehow, Hiromu figured it out. But somehow, to his credit, Ninja Mac was able to counter it. So it worked in his favor, and he called it like a tactical super ninja, whatever he called it, but it was beautifully done. But unfortunately, his tactic did not work because somehow I wasn't too sure exactly what Hiromu did. It looked more like a triangle answer or modified of it, but he was able to put Ninja Mac in a submission, and just like that, Ninja Mac had no choice but tap. I mean, yeah, like I said, I always bet on Ninja Mac, but somehow Hiromu really outsmarted him, which is surprisingly good. I give them credit for that, but I'm sure Ninja Mac will bounce back. Now our next match, we have Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Kosef Fujita. Oh, my bad, let me backtrack a little bit. If any of you guys ask what's the point system, well, Ninja Mac has 4, while Hiromu has 6. Let me look at the record here. Let me pull that up real quick. I know I have it. Here it is. So yeah, this is what we have. Ninja Mac has 4 with only 2 wins and 4 losses. As for Hiromu, he has about he has 3 wins and 3 losses. So that's total points of 6. Now let's move on to the next match. We have Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Kosei Fujita. Now, of course, Kosei Fujita, we know that he's not been in a good state at the moment. I mean, he started out strong in the beginning of this tournament, but however, at some point he started losing. But, surprise, surprise, the House of Losers decided to show up again to help him out. So that's the one thing many fans find irritating. Yes, we see Sonata, we see Yujiro, we see Sho. They get involved, and of course, Kanemaru picked up the win by applying the Brainbuster, and just like that. So now you know why I call them a House of Losers, because they cheat their way through, and they are a bunch of losers. But however, the point system now indicates that Yoshinobu Kanemaru has 6 points, so does Kosei Fujita. But however, Kosei Fujita could have gone the 8 points and be in the lead, but it did not. So Fujita has like 3 wins and 3 losses. It's the same thing with Kanemaru, I believe. But yes, so we still got a few more matches to go, so we'll see how things will roll up. Next up, we have Kushida versus Clark Connors. I have to say this match was pretty good in every aspect. I mean, one thing is certainly Kushida was not holding back one way or the other. He knows how dangerous Clark Connor is, and I give him credit to assume that he was going to pick up the win. But however, that did not go in his favor because Clark Connors was able to apply the no chaser, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But however, the point system in this goes to 6 points each, with 3 wins and 3 losses. Next up, we have Dragon Dia versus Francesco Akira. So yes, we've been seeing some great progress with these guys. I mean, they did not start out strong, but in the end, of course, it was Francesco Akira. Instead of using Fireball or whatever, it did not work in his favor. So it was a new submission move that, of course, Francesco Akira has recently been using that allowed him to gain 2 more points with a total of 6. And of course, Dragon Dia is still stuck in 6 with 3 wins and 3 losses. Main event, Robbie X versus Master Wato. So one of these 2 men will break the tie to go up, take the lead in this tournament, and would it be Robbie X, who originally was not supposed to be part of the tournament, but due to Bushi leaving New Japan, he is stepping up. But I was impressed by this match. I mean, it could have gone either way between Robbie X and Master Wato, but in the end, it was Master Wato with the Resemiente, just like that. 1, 2, 3, it was over, giving him, of course, a total of 8 points, who is now in the lead of the A block. So he will be stuck there for who knows how long until someone either throws him up or he loses matches. But, however, Robbie X has about 3 wins and 3 losses. And as for, Master Wato, he has about 4 wins and 2 losses. So that's pretty good right there. So we'll stay close until the next one. But as of right now, we are done with New Japan. Let's move on with NXT. Final review. NXT. As you know, we're in the go-home show before Battleground, so anything could happen before then. We opened up, of course, with Ricky Saint making his way to the commentary booth to witness the triple threat match that was taking place, featuring Javon Evans, Evolve's very own Sean Legacy, and of course Ashante Diadonis. Now, one thing that was very interesting is what the comment of both Vic and of course Corey Graves were mentioning. If this match was a #1 contendership for Ricky Saint's North American title, who would he pick? He said that he would think most likely it would be like Javon Evans because he sees a lot of talent in him. But of course, a lot of things was happening. I mean, these guys are determined to, of course, who will be on top, and that's one of the good things about this match. Now, while the match was happening, Ethan Page, who was not done with Ricky Saints, attacked them, and of course, all hell broke loose. But, however, the match progresses with Sean Legacy picking up the win by applying the shambles onto Ashante Diadonis. So, basically, Sean Legacy picked up the win. Now, in the back, of course, the Prime Minister of Evolve, Stevie Turner, was pleased with herself to see Sean Legacy winning. However, Ava, the general manager of NXT, was not pleased with the fact of what happened with Ethan Page attacking Ricky Saints. So basically, she wants to settle this once and for all. Now, Lola Vice was having talks with Stephanie Vakir, as you know. They've been communicating a lot. Stephanie Vakir, as you know, she has been now focusing on her opponent for Battleground for the NXT Women's title, Jordan Grace. However, Lola Vice was telling her that, forgot what it was, but she is well aware what's until then. But however, she got in the apparently she was confronted by both Fallon Henley and Jay-Z Jane, as you probably can guess. But one thing that was interesting, Lola Vice was seeing the cracks within, of course, Fatal Influence. So that sets it up into the match later on. Now, Trick Williams showed up, of course, to do he was like rapping and talking about Joe Hendry and all this. I think he's trying to outstage him in his concert thing that will take place a little later. Now, before his next match, Josh Briggs was talking with Kelly Kincaid on an interview, feeling about, of course, Inamura leaving back to Japan, and of course his dealings with Shawn Spears and the Calling. And of course we jump into that match. Now, of course, when it comes to Shawn Spears, he has the Calling by his side, making sure that things will go exactly like they were planned. And that's exactly what happened. The Calling got in the way, they interfered, and then of course Shawn Spears applied inside cradle, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Shawn Spears picked up the win. But Josh Briggs decided to retaliate for what just transpired. But out of nowhere, the current NXT Tag Team Champions, Hank and Tag, showed up as reinforcement to give Josh Briggs some help. So basically, we could see those three guys teaming up together. So we'll see how things will go. Now, Kalani Jordan, as you know, she has been determining for a while to regain what she lost, and that is, of course, the NXT Women's North American title. So she has to go through Zyra to get to Soruka. So there'll be a match between those two a little later. Now, our next match is OTM versus the new Chase U guys, Uriah Connor and Kill Dixon. Well, this match ended, of course, with OTM winning the match thanks to Lucian Price picking up the win onto Kill Dixon. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, Tatum Paxley, as you know, she's gone a little cuckoo ever since Gigi and, of course, what's her name, Shotzi left. And, of course, she felt like she has no friends. Dale tried to confront her, and, of course, Jada Parker tried to talk to her, too. But Jada Parker doesn't want to be friends with her at all. She's just happy to see how things are crumbling for Dale. But if I were her, I wouldn't piss off Tatum Paxley. Now, Miles Bourne and Obafemi had a little promo. As you all know, Miles Bourne is the #1 contender, facing off Obafemi for the NXT Championship. So they had certain things. However, Obafemi was talking about his ability. You know, all those who know, Miles Bourne is deaf. But Miles Bourne tried to say, people underestimated me because of my ability. And it's true. People did underestimate him. I mean, yes, he may not be able to hear 100%, but he always gets the job done. Now, when things were settled between both Obafemi and Miles Bourne, well, we did see one of the winners for the LGF, was named Jasper Troy, attack Obafemi. And of course, Miles Bourne did help out, but I don't know what is Jasper Troy's true motive, but we'll see how that rolls. Now, Ava had the security team restrain both Ricky Saints and Ethan Page because of this matter. Now, of course, once again, Chapter 2 between these two guys starts up again. So Ethan Page gets another opportunity of the North American title, possibly in Battleground. Now, Tony D'Angelo, as you know, put out a video promo talking about Stacks. He said that he has a lot of guts, but for what he did was against everything that the family were about. So this will be settled once and for all. Now, back in the ring, we saw Lola Vice versus Fallon Henley. So this was an interesting matchup. However, remember what I mentioned. Lola Vice was mentioning the cracks within Fatal Influence, and that's exactly what happened. Jay-Z Jane tried to interfere, but it backfired until Fallon Henley bumped into her, and just like that, There was a back fist by Lola Vice, and just like that, good night, Fallon. 1, 2, 3. It was over. Now you can see the cracks between both Jacy Jayne and Fallon Henley taking place. So we'll see how things will progress with those two. Now, Stephanie Vakir, as you know, had an interview with Kelly Kincaid talking about her journey. For those who know about her background, she was from Chile. She looked up to Rey Mysterio. She wrestled in Japan and, of course, in Mexico. So she talks about all the things she's accomplished on her way before reaching WWE. But she knows her opponent, as you know, Jordynne Grace. She knows what she's capable of. She knows how dangerous she is. But she's not afraid to back down from any fight, because she said that she'll bring hell to her, which, of course, hell is her new home. So we'll see how things will roll. Now, our main event, we have Kelani Jordan versus Zyra. As you know, if Kelani Jordan beats Zyra, she will get another opportunity of the NXT Women's North American title at Battleground. Now, of course, things would have gone perfectly, but Sol Ruca decided to get involved, but Zyra accidentally bumped into her, and this caused, of course, a victory roll by Kelani Jordan to pick up the win. So that means, of course, Kelani Jordan gets another opportunity of the NXT Women's Championship. So we'll see how things will roll up. Now, the show ended, of course, with Joe Hendry and doing a concert until Trick Williams shows up. But Joe Hendry took out the trash, and we'll see how things will roll up. So can't wait to see what's going to happen in Battleground. So stay tuned for that, folks. So as of right now, we are officially done with our reviews. Let's move on to do our last and final thing, news updates. Welcome to our news updates. So let's begin as usual with, of course, with upcoming events. As you know, we have the upcoming in June, House of Glory Mike Santana presents Puerto Rican Weekend. Now, many of you know there's been mostly, like, we will see wrestlers who are Puerto Rican descent. Well, this one was announced recently, and this one is from Carissa Rivera, or as many of you knew her back in WWE, who was released this year as Elektra Lopez. Yep, that's right, guys. So basically, Elektra Lopez is back, so she'll be making her House of Glory debut very soon. Now, as you know, they'll be doing a 2-day event in Atlantic City. In one of them, the event is called Cage of Survival by GCW. This one will take place on the 8th of June. Now, 3 matches have been announced. Well, 2 matches have been announced, and 1 tag team will be making their debut or so. We have, of course, the JCW World Title, the Jersey Championship Wrestling, not GCW. Masha Slavish will defend her belt against KJ Orso, or as we know him, Fuego del Sol. And then we have a dog collar match, Joey Janela versus the Silver-Tooth Satan, Acticus Cogar. And then they announced a Juggalo Championship Wrestling Tag Champions. Brothers of Funstruction will be making their debut. Those who don't know, these are guys who are dressed up like clowns. They've normally been hanging out with Violet J recently, so basically they'll be making their debut. And then finally, of course, German promotion WXW, or better known as West Side Extreme Wrestling. As you know, they'll be doing a Pro Wrestling Grand Prix in September. They just announced Francesco Akira from the United Empire will be participating. So this is not the first time he's been in a WXW event, so he'll be participating. Now on for some developments. Many of you may have heard that All Out will be in Toronto. So yes, they'll be having their first All Out show outside of the US, and this will take place in September, in case anybody asks. So not much information has been told, so I can't wait to do so. Now, many of you know I mentioned this on a previous update in a recent episode. As you know, Tokyo Yoshiko Wrestling will have the annual Tokyo Princess Cup. They just announced participations involving. So this is what we do know. Let me pull it up real quick. So 12 participants have been announced and confirmed. We have our current Princess champion Mizuki, Shoko Nakajima, Hyper Misawa, our international Princess champion Zuzumi, Yuki Kamifuku, Raku, Miyu Yamashita, Rika Tatsumi, Miyu Watanabe, Yuki Aino, Arisu Endo, and Yuki Arai. So these ladies are confirmed to be involved. However, there are 4 remaining spots available in this tournament. So the idea to fill up the spot, there's going to be a 16-woman round qualification to determine, and this is who is participating: Pam Harajuku, Mahiro Kiru, Haruna Neko, Moka Miyamoto, Kaya Toribami, Wakana Uehara, Imawari, Haru Kazushiro, Toga, Shino Suzuki, Mifu Ashida, Kira Summer, Chika Nanaze, Uda Takame, Ivy Steele, and Konatsu. However, they did mention that Maki Ito will not be participating due to her commitments in the overseas schedule. So that's basically a bummer, but yes. Now, 2 things have been mentioned in the WWE world, in case anybody asks. There's been, as you all know, recently in the last episode, I talked about the WXW European Championship vacant, and the last champion was Mike DiVincenzo. Well, it turns out that Mike DiVincenzo has been, along with Anglin Blanc, was reported by Culture Alcoholic, and later was confirmed, of course, too, by Fightful Select, that these 2 men will be likely signed with WWE. So that's the reason the WXW has been vacated, but now it makes perfect sense. Alain Blanc, I have to say, he's an amazing wrestler coming from France. So we'll see how this goes. But however, because of their signing, there's been indication about this. It turns out that, as you know, a while back, when NXT UK was, of course, deactivated, there was plans of NXT Europe. So apparently, it's been talked once again. Hopefully, the start launching by the end of 2025. So yeah, that would make sense why they have, of course, Alain Blanc and Mike DiVincenzo, of course, being signed. So looks like they might put these 2 guys be part of NXT Europe. So we'll see how things roll up from there. Now, Rossy Ogawa once again was in an interview, and he talked about, of course, Mayu Iwatani, certain things. This is what he said about her. Mayu Iwatani is a wrestler who has benefited from not making a move. Even when Kairi and Io moved to America, she got to where she is now without taking any action. She's not the type to do things herself. It's more like our setups for her. This is the first time she made a move on her own volition, isn't it? There's probably nothing else that she could do in Stardom, so she's probably glad that she made the move. Now, many of you can say Mayu made the wrong decision, that she was selfish. Many of you would say she should have gone with WWE. Maybe so, but Rossy knows her better. Remember, guys, she is basically a father figure to Ross. Rossy's like a father figure to her, and he knew exactly how she would think. And he's right. When Io and Kairi left Stardom to go to WWE, she never made that decision to go. Now, some of you may think she's probably better off to go. Yes, but you gotta understand, she may not want to. But we'll see how that goes up. But he's saying that he's happy that she made her move to go from Stardom to Marigold out of her accord, not what people telling her what to do. And of course, he's very happy for her. She made this on her own, and I'm sure he's proud of her, like a proud father, realizing she made a good choice for herself. And of course, nobody has a right to question that. But Rossy recently talked about his thoughts about the recent stuff that took place with Stardom. Of course, Tam Nakano's retirement, Mina and Mayu Iwatani's departure, and this is what he said. With Iwatani, Nakano, and Shirakawa gone, that's a significant cut. Stardom has a lot of rookies, so this is a transition phase right now. It feels like afterglow of Stardom, like an afterglow, still lingering. But who knows how long that will last? It will take it easy. If they take it easy, they'll fall off. I'm curious about what they are doing. Several people gone, it's easier to push the rookies. We'll have to wait and see if there's any real deals. So Rossy, as you know, he is paying attention to what goes on in Stardom. He's not, of course, trying to gloat, but he knows the current state about how Stardom has been operating. For those who don't know, when Rossy Ogawa, in fact, of course, was planning to sell the company to WWE, he found out that WWE were planning to dismantle Stardom, but he backed down of the deal because it wasn't out of selfish needs. It was more like how to say, guarantee safety and securement for all the women involved in Stardom, all the Yoshi wrestlers like Tam, like Mayu, everyone else who's been involved with Stardom. So that's the kind of person he is. He knows that things could fall apart for Stardom, but he's not gonna rush to judgment until he sees how things roll. He knows that right now things have changed with Tam retired, Mina Shirakawa left to the U.S., and of course Mayu making the transition to Mighty Gold. They may have to try something new, but of course push a lot of rookies up to the top. So we'll see how things will go from there. So we'll pay closely attention to Rossy of any thoughts about Stardom or anything else. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So as it's time, let's just call it a day. Okay, so hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. As you know, we have AEW Dynamite. As you probably can guess, this is the go-home show for, of course, Double or Nothing. So we'll talk more about that until we do that review. And of course, we have WWE Evolve. So just now, I just realized that we have about 2 pay-per-views happening around the same time: Double or Nothing, and of course, Battleground. So that's gonna be a little tough pill to swallow for all of us. Many of you might ask, am I going to do both of them? I most likely would do both if that's the case, but don't hold your breath, because I may not be able to do it. So we'll see how that rolls up from there. But as of right now, let's just see how things will roll up until we cross that bridge. But as I said, for the upcoming episode, it would be WWE Evolved and AEW Dynamite. If there's any other reviews I may do before then, well, that's gonna have to wait a little while. So we'll see how things will progress. But as of right now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.